I definitely think dance is underrated, especially, I would say, especially in Trinidad.
You see it in what people want to pay dancers, you see it in how they treat dancers.
We are sometimes treated as second-class artists, in my opinion.
The amount of times dance has put Trinidad on the map, and it's praised in that moment, and then it disappears. Like, well, what has dance done for Trinidad and Tobago? It's done a lot for Trinidad and Tobago. A lot of people don't even think about the amount of preparation that a dancer has to go through to become a professional.
People don't understand how much creativity, effort, strain.
Dancers work so hard. I don't care what anybody says. Dancers are athletes. We push our bodies to the limits.
It's a full-time job, and I believe like a lot of people think it's just for fun.
Dance is a very important section of Carnival, a very important part of Carnival. It drives Carnival. Whether it's performed on stage or in the street, dance drives Carnival. If you look at any event that happens in this country, there's always a dance on the stage. But ask any dancer, when they were asked to come and do this, how were they respected? How were they treated? How were they? It's not the norm that dance is recognized. It's literally the lowest of the totem pole.
This is the time of we life, when we just feel alive, festival romanize. That just make me feel nice, but we can't go nowhere. It's like I can't see my way, I can't cross on this stage. Can't go jumping all day, but look, I'll find a way, for we to masquerade, for we to stamp on the ground and make me feel nice again. Feel like
Dance is something like a symbol of freedom.
Dance to me is all about passion.
Dance is one of the most important things that I have in my life.
I feel like that was the only way that I can really decipher my emotions in a positive and healthy way.
Dance is somewhat of a common ground of all creatives being able to almost speak the same language.
Dance is everything to me. It is a way of exercise, it's a form of worship to God, it is also a way to express myself.
Dance is a part of who I am. It's what makes me happy, it's what gets me going, it's my therapy, it's my happy place.
For me, dancing is the ultimate way how to express myself.
It's bringing your soul outside.
It's literally what keeps me breathing and living and surviving.
It's me.
I am Bridget Wilson. I am the principal of Caribbean School of Dancing, the rehearsal director of Metamorphosis Dance Company, and the choreographer for the Lost Tribe. A part of being successful in dance is knowing that you're not going to have that much money. You're not going to be able to afford a certain lifestyle unless you kind of have to be a hustler and find a million things to do, because a one salary dance job not going to cut it.
My name is Malika Galad, but everybody knows me as Luna. That's my brand name. I consider myself a professional dance artist. I do a multitude of things. I'm also a teacher. I teach at whining school. I teach people how to whine, that's embedded in our soca culture. So the reason why I call myself Luna in the first place is because I have an obsession with the moon. I really like the moon. I did a lot of research on it. And then I like the Spanish language. So when I found out that moon in Spanish is Luna, I was like, that sounds so nice. Like, I really like that. And I feel like it kind of resonates with my personality in some way, because I am a mystery just as much as I'm bright and spontaneous.
My name is Dominic Davis. I am a dancer, a model, actor, musician, magician, alchemist, many other things, and I just do me. To me, dance is the ultimate form of expression because it can be so weird to look at. It could be anything with the human body. Most of the times in my past, it was people were confused and amazed at the same time, like, what is this? So I consider myself an alien in many different ways, but I had to know that was the power. And dance itself is a very, very powerful tool to make people realize not who I am, but to make them realize who they are. Because if you can relate to me, you relate to yourself, and I'm just a reflection of you.
My name is Karishma. Everyone calls me Kerry, and I am an East Indian dancer. The name of my dance company is Nritya Dance Company, and we focus on East Indian influenced dance. A very unique point about my dance company is that I also do work with special needs children. My little brother, he's a special needs child, and he sometimes performs with me as well. He acts of the role of our manager.
Hi, my name is Asha Henry. I am a dancer, model, digital marketing strategist, social media branding strategist. Yeah, that's about it, I think. When I'm on stage, I'm a whole different person. I don't know who she is. Well, I know who she is. Her name is Basha, but I don't know where she comes from and how she comes to life on stage. I am in pure shock sometimes. I'm like, who is this person and where are you going with all this funk and sexiness and sass? And because if you know me, I call myself an awkward turtle because I feel very nerdy and very dorky. I'm clumsy. I don't see myself in that light. But when Basha comes to life on stage, ooh, papa, she's her own person.
Hi everybody, I'm Michelle Bambai. I'm from Slovakia and I'm a dancer. When I am on stage, I just feel explosion of energy. Depending on the song, it depends always what the song brings out of me. So if it's a song like Don't Play That, I just feel this raw, strong energy. Then when I come off stage, I know a lot of people are surprised that I'm actually shy. So I can be splitting or doing whatever on stage, like wilding out, having fun, enjoying completely. And then when somebody talks to me, they are always surprised, like, oh, well, I didn't know you seem like a very expressive and, like crazy person. I am still a crazy person, but I am shy too. And a lot of people say like, no, you're just playing shy. I'm like...
My name is Jose Freedom. I am a dancer, choreographer. I'm also a musician and fitness instructor. So Freedom. So a lot of people think Freedom is my actual last name. It's not. As cool as it might sound, Freedom is actually a name that I gave myself when I realized, okay, this is it. This is what I want to do, and there's no turning back from here. And Freedom is actually an acronym, and it stands for finally reaching every expectation, doing only me. So what that simply means is that I will get wherever I want to go. I will succeed in all my goals, but I'll get there being honest and true to myself always.
With respect to the beginning of dance, most people would agree that dance began in Africa. I think that's the beginning of civilization. Most things would have begun in Africa.
Dance can be connected to almost every civilization that's existed in humankind, right? Every culture has had a dance of some form.
How did dance come to our country? Now, first of all, we must remember that there were Amerindians here. There were indigenous people already here, and they were already dancing. And some of those dances are still used in different ceremonies that we do today. With the advent of the slave trade, we would have had an influx of Europeans. That would include the French, the British, the Portuguese. We have all these different ethnic groups arriving in the Caribbean, in Trinidad specifically. They would have brought their African slaves. And after that, after slavery was abolished, we would have had the influx of indentured laborers. All these groups that came into Trinidad would have had their own lifestyle, would have had their own food, their own way that they dressed, the way that they talked, and of course the way that they danced.
The multi-fusion of influences from South America, from Africa, from China, from India, you name it, Syria, that is all coming together to also create their own sort of fusions of dance. And that is particular to Trinidad within the Caribbean in itself as well.
So even before slavery ended, there were dances that were already being done in Trinidad, and they would have been the fusion between African and French influences, African and Spanish influences, and any other ethnic group that would have come into Trinidad. However, after slavery, where we had this whole celebration of Camboulet, freedom from slavery, we see the development of many different carnival characters, and most of these characters, of course, would have been mocking the slave masters, right? We have typical example of the Jab Molassie, which we call Blue Devil today. The character itself was developed around mocking the slave masters and mocking what they would have done and what they used to call them, which is, they used to actually call them devils. And they used to dress as devils to show them what a devil would really look like, right? Now, the dances that they will do will obviously be portraying their feelings. So the development of the character influences the development of the dance.
The first time that I recognized dance, I think I was like 2 years old, and I think I saw my mom practicing a dance routine. I was just so blown away because everybody's hair was like flinging, and it was like so much energy, and everybody was sweating, and I was just staring like, wow.
My parents had a band. They were like the backup band for Mastana Bahar, and being there with them as a kid and seeing these dancers looking so elegant and so disciplined and moving in coordination, I was like, wow, that is amazing.
You see, growing up as a child, I was a very active body. I moved from 6 months climbing to 8 months running.
Since I'm in my mother's womb, I've been around Carnival, I've been around Trinidad culture, and I've been around the entertainment industry. So I've grown up with going to Through Canal events, seeing Marshall in my house, climbing with Calypso Rose, singing songs for Calypso Rose.
I grew up around my family dancing a lot. Like, I had a dancer family. Everybody was always canting, doing the thing. So I saw it, fell in love with it, of course, because I was always in that environment.
As a child, there was a dance class right next to where I lived. So I would get up on a Saturday morning, I have my doll in my hand, crawling through this whole fence, just as these girls dance. I was so mesmerized by them.
Home, I used to just be in my yard making up dances, making up songs. I used to invite the neighbors over to listen to me sing. I still can't sing, but I'm sick of dance.
Since I was a little kid, I was interested in different art forms, and I feel like I was looking for my way, what is comfortable for me. And after many years, I found out that the dance is my way, how I want to express myself and how I feel the most comfortable and free expressing myself.
I think the moment that it really clicked for me was in primary school. And, you know, I had my little dance crew.
Growing up, it was always dance. Dance, dance, dance. It would make me happy. I was dancing in the house. I was dancing in school. Once music played, I was dancing.
Dance was just placed in front of me like, I don't know, like it was nature, not second nature, it was just nature. And then trying it made me realize that I'm actually good at trying it. And then I realized I'm doing it.
I think that in high school is when I really found the place where I can do it for real, as a career, get the information and stuff like that.
As a child, I didn't really think about what I want to do in the future, what I just was playing all the time. Until I was 12 years old, my mom passed away suddenly. And that kind of led me to, you kind of had to just grow up kind of instantly because my dad was working abroad. So after living with different family members and whatnot, you just kind of find where's home to you, and that became the dancing school, Caribbean School of Dancing. Dancing really helped me deal with the loss of my mother and several other losses after that.
The benefits of dance can be both mental and physical.
Dance allows for self-expression, which is also a very therapeutic element for the human body.
Studies have shown where dance actually helps those with depression. It actually induces endorphins. That's a hormone that is a joy hormone, or one that calms you.
There's lots of connections with the mind and body in terms of learning coordination, learning discipline, learning rhythm, learning composition. So all of these elements are connecting your mind and body together to create the overall piece.
I would say that there were people, even today, who look at me body-wise and are like, so you dance, huh? I'm like, yes, I do.
The perfect ballet body is at fault of George Balanchine. And George Balanchine was a choreographer from Russia that came over to the United States and started ballet over there. He changed the aesthetics. Back in the 30s, back in the 40s, there were bigger ballet dancers with bodies, curves. So it was one choreographer's particular aesthetic that transformed the way that we think about ballet bodies.
When I was growing up as a dancer, I wasn't the skinniest person in the room. I was the most expressive. I had the most passion, but I always knew I wasn't the best dancer. And I always knew that I wouldn't be seen as the best dancer simply because of the size of my body.
And this should definitely change. This is hugely inaccurate, and it is caused significant trauma for dancers all over the world. This has prevented ballet from changing to the form that it can be with around the world.
My teacher, who became my mentor, Miss Rowe, she was also a plus-size dancer, and she gave every single child, no matter what they look like, an opportunity to understand that they could dance too. Because obviously ballet is really not meant for us. It's not meant for wide hips and big bums. It's very European. She incorporated a lot of Caribbean styles into the classical ballet world.
Ballet is only going to change for the better if it is infused with other types of styles and types of people. There needs to be preservation of historical styles and the way that they're taught, preserved, documented, translated, etc. But this is not to say that it can't evolve and change into other new forms and other new ways to look at those forms.
More soca, more soca, more soca, more soca, more soca, more soca.
Through dancehall, I discovered soca. I was always feeling like something is missing, and when I reached to the point where I knew about soca, suddenly, like after a while, not right away, but after a while, I just felt like, okay, this is it. This is what makes me happy and what actually makes me express all kind of moods and all kind of personal characteristics.
I think there's just an innate joy that you get from being a part of Carnival.
It's a space to release, a space to just forget all your worries and enjoy yourself. People around the world, as far as Japan, Slovakia, England, Canada, they will come to Trinidad Carnival because they want to experience that release and that Lego, as we say. You can dance how you want. You can speak how you want. You can just be free.
The culture is very, I wouldn't say addictive because that sounds toxic too, but it is very, like, it will pull you in and you don't even know how you get into it, but now you just only want to listen to soca or, you know.
I think the Trinidadian culture spreads so easily is because it allows an experience of collective joy.
The first time I went on stage, I'll never forget it. It was the biggest stage I performed in, actually. We had to perform with Kess. It was surreal. The dancers actually had to open before anybody else. So it's like a weight on your shoulders of responsibility to set the energy of the performance for the entire show. And it was crazy because when the lights came on and saw like the silhouette of us, the crowd just went mad, and you were shaking kind of on stage, and the adrenaline that was hitting at that point in time was just like, this is going to be insane.
So my first official fete as a martial dancer was CIC Fete with the Saints, which is the first band show of the season. I can't tell you the 10,000 million emotions that I felt that day, from anxiety to pride to nervousness to happiness to pure joy. But it's right before I go on stage, I get the jitters, the little butterflies, the sweaty palms. I had it then, but now I had it 10 times more because I'm now dancing for Marshall Montano, the biggest soca artist in the world. Not in Trinidad, not in the Caribbean, in the world. So my nerves, were on like next level. But on the same level, I was so excited. I was so happy, and it was almost like an opportunity of a lifetime and your dreams coming true.
I love Carnival. I breathe Carnival. Carnival breathes within me. So I used to play mass all the time with Tribe. And I remember one year I was like, I tired. Like the road, it was just too much. I don't know what to do. And I need to do something else. I want to do more than just jump up and down Carnival Monday and Tuesday. And I was like, maybe I'll take a break from Carnival. And the minute I said that, it was like Carnival. I was like, nah, we can't do that. And I got a call from Val, who I had been friendly with because of working with Tribe in different ways. Val was like, I have an idea, and I need to talk to you about this idea. And he told me about this band, and he needed to know exactly who is on board for this band because he have to go to the boss man with this idea. And I was like, well, cool. We're not just playing mass. We want to go back to doing big presentations. We want to go back to the art of Carnival. We want to go back to all of this. He sold me instantly because as a child, I would see my aunt dressing up at my granny's house in Woodbrook. And my aunt was a Madam Minchell. So she come with her donkey hair, she come with this, she come with that. I used to sit down and watch them like getting ready. And I was like, I like this. I like this kind of mass. All of this is something speaking to me. So for me, Lost Tribe giving me the opportunity to do that was like, this is my calling for what I'm supposed to be involved in Carnival.
Dance in itself is evolving, and that's a good thing, especially chutney dance. It's gone from being something that was very hush-hush, it's something not a lot of families would too please their daughters were doing, or even if the girls did it, it was done very secretively. They weren't allowed to perform, all these things, and now it's something that we really embrace. Everyone wants to be a dancer. Everyone wants to do a chutney dance. They want to go on a stage. They want the publicity. They want it to be known. I dance. I perform. This is what I do.
a lot of people love our culture. I'm talking from Japan to Berlin to America. They love the steel pan, they love the tassa, they love chutney soca, they love the dancing, and they love soca.
And that's what soca music is about. Soca music is about unifying the world, is about having people from all walks of life. It doesn't matter what your color, your race, your background, nothing. Like, it's just about expressing yourself.
There's two places that I have performed where I was so scared because I know that they had no clue what chutney and soca is. And I was just standing there and like, why am I here? Why did they choose me to perform my genre of music? And these guys have no idea what I'm going to do. But it was, then I said to myself that, okay, you know what? This is an opportunity to represent my country and let them know what chutney soca and soca is.
So when people say soca now worldwide, I just be like, I think otherwise.
Cultural appropriation is a serious and sensitive topic, especially right now with everything that is happening and been happening, but everything that is coming to light.
Cultural appropriation happens because of three reasons: a lack of education, biased perspectives, and a lack of historical context. If you don't have any of those three, it's going to occur.
So cultural appropriation will be basically taking somebody's culture, sometimes wholesale, and incorporate it into your society and almost passing it off as your own for whatever economic or cultural benefit that you can get from it.
I am accused sometimes on the social media from the cultural appropriation. More and more I read about the history, or more I understand about the system, how the world works. I understand where the argument or where the comments come from. How I deal with it, or what I think about it, is that there is a line, sometimes it's a very thin line, but there is a line where the appropriation becomes something toxic. I really love not just the music and not just the dance, but the culture. I will never be 100% in the culture because I was not born in Trinidad or in Caribbean, right? So I can only learn from the dancers, musicians, and try my best to understand, to give back in a way where you support the artists. Even when I have classes here, I'm making sure, I try to make sure that they know where the music comes from, who they can follow, so they see also the original dancers, because at the end of the day, I am not the original dancer, and there is never anything better than the original, right?
Is it just a little wine? Absolutely not.
Whining is definitely not seen as much of a dance style as per se hip-hop or Afrobeats or stuff like that, and I understand why. Like, it's literally a section of a big dance world, you know, but it is very much a skill just like any other dance skill, and it can be learned, it can be trained. It's not something that you just have right off the bat or anything. Like, some people definitely do have it a lot more comfortably than others, but same way that you can train ballet, you can train your whining skill and develop that more. So I find it's a dance style for sure.
Do I have a dance instructor? Right now, yes, I do. Luna, she's my newfound teacher. We started last year during COVID, and we started whining classes because I was like, your girls gotta learn how to whine, and then it evolved to more choreography and stuff. So she's very talented.
The first time that I definitely worked with Nyla was for a performance, for a show, and it was really like, it's during Carnival time, so you know it's hectic. We didn't get to talk to each other or anything, but we definitely stayed connected after, and that training process was definitely in conversation for a pretty long time before it actually happened, because Nyla's a busy person. She was flying out, doing training, making music, all of that, so she didn't really have time to settle in and do the classes as consistently as we got to during COVID. When it got to happen, you could imagine your girl was excited. I was like, oh, so we're gonna get to do this for real, for real. She's gonna be training. We're not gonna be taking it easy on she because, you know, she has goals, you know, as a performer.
So there are differences between Caribbean and other international places. For instance, the focus on different body parts, particularly when you see in ballet, the upper torso never moves. It's all about the limbs and perceiving this vision of gracefulness and height. Here it's more grounded, it's towards the earth. It is more focused on your hips, as Sonia Dumas famously quotes, the hip is the weapon.
Now, we must remember that Calypso was developed by the lower classes, and most of the movements would have been a lot of gyration of the waist. You know, African people, it's our culture. That's where the whining comes from. If you look at a person whining, the amount of skill that they will have to develop inside of there. Not everybody and everybody could whine, you know. It takes talent, and let's go a little further, a little deeper, and talk about polyrhythm, polycentric. The African body is able to move in so much different ways and respond to so many different rhythms at the same time. You would see the waist going one way, the arms going another way, the upper body going another direction. All of that is coordination. For me, that is skill at its highest.
My mom, she wanted to be a dancer when she was younger, and my grandfather told her, if you want to be broke, go ahead and be a dancer.
High school was the moment that I found out how I could do it, told my mother exactly where it was, and then we had to go through that acceptance point because it wasn't easy. It was not easy. She was not here for it. So we had multiple conversations. We had conversations where she cried, where I cried, because she was just like, I don't understand why you go waste your brightness to go and dance. Like, you know, like they like to say bright.
And I know my mom, she didn't see the journey there for the first few months or years. She was always supporting me, and she was always, of course, helping out as it was possible. But I think she didn't really see it as a future job.
You know, you had to deal with your parents and them feeling like, I don't know how you could make money in dance. So what are you doing?
So yeah, I had to convince her with my actions that I actually mean it. And I feel like she started to take the dancing and me more seriously.
Now there's definitely the acceptance, and she's like my biggest supporter now. So I'm glad I went through the struggle of getting her to go from zero to understanding so we could be here.
The blessing I was blessed with is a mother who understands and who accepts me for me. So the moment I presented her my talents, and she always knew I was expressive and just unique. And the moment I showed her that I have a passion in dance, she just let me fly.
My parents were always supportive of everything that I did. That was one of the things that gave me the structure in my life to know whatever it is I set my mind to, I had that support system behind me.
They've always been supportive anyway and any way in which they can lend a hand. They would, even, you know, my father building props and all these things. So I had a stage mom and a stage dad as well.
With my dad, academics was always very, very, very important. So I needed to ensure that I could balance my schoolwork and getting good grades and doing what I loved, which was dancing. There was no negotiating. He was going to school and he was getting his grades and he was making sure he was on top of your game.
So it was really only in like Form 6 when I noticed everybody had a plan. I didn't have a plan. And so I went to them and I was like, well, I want to do SATs. And they were like, well, why? And I was like, because everybody doing SATs. I wasn't that, well, I want to go SATs because I want to go to university. I was like, well, I realized everybody doing something, so I need to do something too now. I did it. I don't know what the SATs was out of them, but I know I got 1050, which wasn't good at all. So after that, I decided, okay, well, what do I want to do? I wanted to study dance. A lot of people weren't going away to study dance. People were going away to become lawyers and doctors. And I was like, well, I want to dance. Apparently, I only found this out recently that one of my teachers had that inkling that I would want to get involved in the dance group. So she actually already spoke to my family to give them the heads up that Bridget wants to dance and she's going to be poor. A lot of the naysayers were actually like friends, or who were considered friends then. Like, you're gonna waste your father's money to go and dance. Like, I do nothing with that degree. Like, what you doing with that? And
I'm a pastor's kid, so that was where things got a little, I guess, iffy. I get the trickle rumors from, I guess, the congregation in churches that were like giving them a hard time about it. Why is he on stage dancing to soca music and whining and stuff like that? And
in doing soca dance and anything that is considered sexy, you do get the negative comments and the people coming at you with their assumptions because they don't know why you do anything that you're doing.
There were some people saying like, oh, that's not attractive. Why are you doing that? You're just whining and jumping up and doing head tops and splits. That's not a real dance and stuff like that.
Women don't have the freedom to just be sensual and not be judged, or have the assumptions that we're looking for attention. Like, we just get up all the time.
Even just as a dance on the whole, especially in our culture, like some people don't understand it, like how sexy we are or the way we express ourselves. Yes, I get it. It's there, and if that's what you believe and think, that's cool, that's your opinion. But for me, I know where I stand, I know who I am as an individual.
I was in the middle of experiencing both high amounts of positive, attention, then high amounts of negative attention. Was very confusing. But the negative was simple. People just didn't know how to view me, or didn't know how to accept me, because look at me, I am a freckle, redhead fella, just a bit different than the rest, and I had to live with that by understanding how different I am in my environment.
in this industry, I guess you learn to build a very thick skin. You can't be like affected by words that easily. I mean, yeah, there are gonna be times where it hurts.
It doesn't bother me because if you know who I am, you know where I stand with certain things. At the end of the day, people are gonna talk whether you're doing bad or good, and if you're doing what makes you happy in this life, that's all that matters. Once you know your character and who you are as an individual, and the people around you know that, you're good.
My rule is literally just keep your negative comments to yourself unless you're trying to learn.
I definitely think dance is underrated, especially in Trinidad.
Dance is not respected. It's not respected here. It's not respected globally. It's not respected in the academy, and it's not respected in the creative industry either.
I think it's undervalued and underappreciated. You see it in what people want to pay dancers. You see it in how they treat dancers. You see it in the way people speak to and about dancers.
We are sometimes treated as second-class artists, in my opinion. You know, everyone prefers the singers, that's where they go. And then afterward, it's like, all right, we have some space to fill, let's get some dancers.
Dance is always the last thing on people's mind. They know they want to dance, but you're calling Tuesday for Friday. I want 15 minutes of dance, and I want this and I want that. And I said, well, you should have called me a long time ago. I could give you 2 seconds.
A lot of people don't even think about the amount of preparation that a dancer has to go through to become a professional.
Dancers work so hard. I don't care what anybody says. Dancers are athletes. We push our bodies to the limits.
To become a professional dancer, you have to stretch every day, you have to exercise every day, you have to practice your technique every day. Dancers are some of the most fit persons that you can find in this planet. The amount of dedication and motivation, self-motivation that is, that you have to put into this career, if you want to be a professional dancer, I think is one that must be compensated.
The time that it takes to put work together, pieces of like a 2-minute choreography takes a lot of time. Like people don't understand how much creativity, effort, strain.
Somebody has to make up the dance. Somebody has to find the music for the dance. If it's not an existing track, you need to get somebody to produce the music for the dance. Somebody has to train the dancers. Somebody has to make the costume for the dancers. The dancers have to have time to rehearse the dance enough so that you, for your event or for your whatever it is, they're looking good enough, because then you're going to be vexed because the dance didn't do what you wanted it to do. None of that is taken into consideration ever.
It's a full-time job, and I believe like a lot of people think it's just for fun.
Weird sort of phenomenon here in Trinidad, I believe, because music is so revered and so respected and taught in primary and secondary schools and in the university programs. It's well developed, it's well respected, and dance is not. But you cannot necessarily have music without dance, and that is a very Caribbean culture thing as well. They're tied together.
The amount of times dance has put Trinidad on the map, put Trinidad and Tobago on the map, and it's praised in that moment, and then it disappears. Like, well, what has dance done for Trinidad and Tobago? It's done a lot for Trinidad and Tobago. There are people that come every year from the Lion King and from different companies because they want dancers from Trinidad, because the dancers from Trinidad have made a name for themselves. And nobody recognizes that.
If you look at Carnival, for instance, dance is a very important section of Carnival, a very important part of Carnival. It drives Carnival. Whether it's performed on stage or in the street, dance drives Carnival. And if it is we don't take care of our dancers, we are basically not investing in the one thing that brings in a lot of our economic benefits.
If you look at any event that happens in this country, there's always a dance on the stage. But ask any dancer, when they were asked to come and do this, how were they respected? How were they treated? How were they? It's not the norm that dance is recognized. It's literally the lowest of the totem pole.
When you want to entertain tourists, dance will always be in there. You go looking for dancers, you go looking for the best of our local entertainment. But if you don't pay our dancers right, you are basically saying you don't respect dance in that sense.
It's sad that that's the environment for dancers here, but they still thrive and they still do what they have to do.
Like the conditions we work in, not always the best, not always ideal, but we push through and we get it done. Dancers are amazing.
I can say honestly, and I'll be unfair if I'm not saying, that it is slowly getting better as across the world, I believe.
I think that we definitely get in there. Like, there are things being set in place for us to have the same respect as per se a music artist, but we're not 100% there yet. It's still building. People still trying to understand that, you know, this could be a standalone thing in the same way that you can see an artist on a stage alone performing, singing, that kind of thing. Like, a dancer could really and truly do that and be the artist as well.
One of the lowest points for me in dance was discovering that I was nowhere close to what my mind could have seen. That was the most depressing moment I had with myself, realizing that I'm not what I see. And I know what I see is there. And then right after that was my highlight of my time, where I decided to make that choice to become that. So I took my phone, I played music, I recorded myself, and I danced and I watched it, and I didn't like it. And I continued that process every day till this day. And now I could safely say, because I choose that moment of feeling that grit of being depressed, and right after this, switching and realizing this is where I start, that was the highlight.
My highest point as a dancer would definitely have been Bahar when I was about 15. I was the youngest person to make it and place in the finals that year, and it was also my first time entering. It was a lot of work, so it's something I really felt I deserved that accomplishment, and I was really proud of it.
My mom has always said to all of her children, the three of us, just do whatever makes you happy in this life. Don't worry about anything else. If you're doing what makes you happy, the money will come, the success will come. She has always told me there's no place I'm happier than when I'm on a stage. She says I light up. It's just where I belong.
I think any dancer would tell you there's nothing like being on stage, having the crowd just going crazy, the energy that they're sending back at you, and you just being able to reciprocate it towards them. Just simple things like breaking out of choreography on stage and moving to the front of the stage and reaching for somebody's hand, and they send that energy back. That's like a high point in any dancer's career.
Being on stage, like I said earlier, it's one of those moments where yes, you have a job to do and you have choreo to remember and steps and spacing, and don't fall off the stage, don't hit somebody, don't hit Marshall, don't get a mic in your face. Yes, it's a whole bunch of things, but yet still it's the most freeing, euphoric experience. I feel like I can't even put into words how I feel when I'm on stage. But it's my happy place.
The highlight for me in my dance career was definitely getting to perform with Kes on stage, and it was just me and him, so is attention time. He was definitely seeing me. I was really excited about it. I had a solo performance. I really like Kes. I really love his music, so that was definitely the top of the tops for me. I was like, okay, one of my dreams on them came true for sure.
Trinidad and Tobago has received confirmation of its first case of COVID-19 or coronavirus.
From Sunday at midnight, all activities considered non-essential will be prohibited.
The international flights will no longer be allowed into Trinidad and Tobago. Government took the decision as it ramps up measures to delay the spread of the COVID-19 virus.
The pandemic.
Wow. You woke up one morning and then you couldn't do anything, literally.
The earlier parts of the pandemic was definitely scary. Like, we didn't know what was really going to happen, how long it would be in existence for. So things like completely shut down during March. Like, it was everybody out of commission, nothing is happening.
So it really affected us in terms of being able to have classes, performances.
The in-person classes are all cancelled. Like, I did not have in-person workshop for months.
The beginning of this pandemic, I think for a lot of creatives, it was one of the most challenging and unexpected things we had to deal with.
The pandemic is such an unknown. We really don't know when this is going to end or what is going to happen, or this new normal, if this is just the normal. Like, we don't know.
Especially if you're in Trinidad and you're a dancer in the soca industry, it's like night after night, day after day, rehearsals, drill, classes, on stage performances, fetch. So like going from that high in January, February to it was the absolute nothing, and being forced to be in your house, not being able to go outside, and everything that you love just kind of cancelled.
I feel more isolated. I know as a dancer, you usually are surrounded by a lot of people.
Emotionally and mentally, I think I crashed the most there, for sure. I almost felt like I went into somewhat of a depression.
So it's been a very anxious experience, I'm not gonna lie. I've had some really low lows.
When the pandemic first came, I thought it was the best thing ever because I got a break. I was going non-stop. I had a million projects waiting, and for the first time in my life, I felt that I wasn't gonna deliver what people expected of me. And the moment it was like, well, lockdown, no school, everything is cancelled. I was like, great, I'm done. Let me take a break, let me lie down, I'm done.
But after a while, when we realized that it was going to be here for a while, we kind of had to figure out what we're going to be able to do to make money again, connect with people again, like that kind of vibe.
About a week into that, I was like, oh wait, I have a school to run, and there are people whose livelihood depends on the success of this school continuing. And I had to snap out of that dream world of, oh, I can relax and make a plan for, well, how is this school that is 63 years old going to continue its legacy? Because it's not going to not happen under my name. Under my name, we're going.
And online classes was definitely the way to go. Initially, it wasn't the easiest thing because, figuring out technology and how to make sure that everybody here and everybody seeing no technical issues is going on during class was difficult.
Teaching classes via Zoom, dance class at least, it is difficult. You miss that physical interaction with your students. You miss having them right in front of your face, so it's difficult to even correct certain things.
But now it's a pretty amazing process because I would say we've mastered it. Things are flowing smoothly. The COVID period actually got us to open up our service to a wider market, to people around the world, because prior to then, classes were only available locally. We weren't doing online classes then, so we only had Trinidadians to come into the class, but now we have, again, the Europeans, Poland, Germany, all of these places being able to take the classes as well.
I now have regional students. I have some students from Jamaica who love chutney dance.
What we actually started to do on social media for people is not even necessarily post, but we were starting to do like live classes. So because we knew like people weren't working, so people can't really pay for classes, people weren't doing this, and we ourselves were like struggling to be creative because we were finding like looking for a sense of purpose. We decided, okay, well, here what? Let's do some dance marathons. Let's do some classes. Let anybody who wants to join, let's just let it be free. Not only us as creatives are like suffering, we know other people around the world, they want to be active, they want to do something, and there's not really much that we could have done. So we knitted together and we started to just like distribute lives, just Instagram lives, classes back to back to back. So you could spend 8 hours dancing if you wanted to. I think that's where social media started to turn for us, because now a lot of our content is distributed for online, and it opened up avenues to reaching out to people all over the world. So people in Canada, the US, in Europe. I had people from China and all like that was taking me classes, so it was super crazy to have that kind of connection and realize that you're not on your own anymore at that point.
COVID definitely had like a negative impact in the beginning, but then a good thing rose out of it, being the connection to the online people.
It's been a catalyst for the school to get a certain amount of things that we had on the back burner done. People who were leading the forefront before didn't think about, well, we need a website to keep up with social media life. So with the pandemic and everything going online, it was like, you can't say no. This is literally, if we don't do this, we're not going to survive. We did host our first virtual performance last November, which has been a great thing because obviously it's helped us to keep running, but it got the attention of a lot of our very notable alumni. And when they saw, okay, the school is in need and the school is being affected by this pandemic, they're like, well, how can we help? What to me was so amazing is that the alumni knew what the school did for them as well. And they didn't want to see that somebody else who the school meant that much to couldn't continue dancing. People coming together who understand the worth of their dance education at Caribbean School of Dancing has just pushed me to find a way through the very, very gloomy sky.
Dance is definitely part of my future forever. I do have goals to travel more. I've barely left Trinidad. I literally only went to Tobago in 2019 for the first time. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. I see the look on your face.
In the future, I do definitely see myself involved with dancing. I will dance as long as my body can keep it up.
The first goal to achieve is getting through all the different hardships of the pandemic. For myself, which would affect the school, I do hope to branch out with my choreography so that different international companies can do my choreography, or that the dance company Metamorphosis can have more opportunities to travel, to do work with other companies, or to do different dance festivals, which we have done in the past.
I have advice for dancers, and it's simple, and it's to breathe. Take your time and breathe through your movement.
Younger dancers coming up now have a complete advantage of what they can achieve in a very short space of time. You no longer have to be in a studio to learn, and you don't have to learn from one person only anymore. There are so many online videos that are free on YouTube and this and that.
Dance is more than just being the person on stage dancing. So find what you love about dancing and understand that
everybody has a different role to play in dance to make it happen.
There is no right or wrong answer about how to start or how to finish. Like, start doing the things that you like to do, and eventually, like, if your skill is not where you want it to be at, the only way that you're going to get it to a place where you do want it to be is by training more. So be consistent, start, don't plan for 10 years and then start on the 11th. Like, start now.
There are some extremely talented people here, and I can't wait for the moment some of them break and they get recognized, because they're going to take over, not regionally, not in Trinidad, globally.
Come let we move with, whoa.